Hey everybody, welcome to our Versus multiplayer episode of Hearts of Iron 4. I'm Darqueling, joined again by Zaro, Disgruntled, and LittleBluFish from pretty much all my other videos that I've been doing the past year. So, Hearts of Iron 4 is a grand strategy game similar to the other two I've been playing, EU4 and Stellaris, wherein this one is focused primarily in the preludes to World War II and the post-World War II era. So we're starting in 1936. I am France, Zaro is Germany, LittleBluFish is the Soviet Union, and then Mr. Disgruntled is the United States. First things first, I need to turn off the day-night cycle. So the first episode we're pretty much going to spend talking about what we're doing for research and taking care of all this crap up top, because there's a lot of pre-war setup that you kind of want to take care of before we really start the game. There's just a lot to cover. So this one is definitely a lot more in-depth and interested than Stellaris. Stellaris is very pick up and play. This one's a lot more in-depth like EU4 or CK. I don't know if Zara, if you would be able to compare it to one of the others. You're the more expert out of it.
Well, for 4, it's probably at closer to EU level. I think 3 was much more difficult from what I've seen.
Gotcha, so they toned it actually down then.
Yep.
That's good to know. So,
very much so, they've toned it down.
Yeah, no joke. Alright, so first things first, before we take care of anything on the map, there's a bunch of infantry stuff, a bunch of tanks, a bunch of cavalry. You see all this stuff here. We'll get to this guy eventually, all this stuff. First things first is we need to take care of this stuff up top. We have our national unity. Right now it's stupid low, so we need to work on different research and ideas that will fix that. Our political power gains over time. Our manpower is our total manpower we can recruit from. Our factories represent how many factories you have producing stuff. And then we get into the different experience powers and our convoy power. So, first things first, we need to see where we're at. We're France, we're smack dab in the middle. We got Spain to the south, United Kingdom above us, Germany to the east, Italy to the southeast, and the United States halfway across the world. So my only allies are pretty much me, myself, and I, which you can actually see by going into the faction map mode. I'm currently not allied with anybody. The only allies that exist are pretty much England and its colonies. Comintern exists, that's the Soviets. I could go Comintern, I could go fascist, I could go allied, I could go France. There's multiple paths I can take. Same with the United States. So there's multiple things that we can do here. In the meantime, I'm pretty much going to have to focus on buffing up my borders here against Germany because, well, we know what happens in World War II, so we need to pretty much just be ready for it. So I'm going to open up my research and see what we have available first. So typically, and I'm sure you guys will also agree, first things first is to skip pretty much all the weapons and equipment unless you're stuck at weapons basic equipment, then it might be worth doing weapons 1. But primarily, you really want to go all the way over to the engineering and industry tabs on the right-hand side. I'm doing pretty much electromechanical engineering first, and then followed by some things in the industry, such as basic machine tools, and then doing the construction. Those are the 3 I'm going to do. I know they're not sexy and they're not popular. Do you guys have any differences you're going for?
No, it's all about research for me. That's all I really can do is build infrastructure until you guys scare the rest of the world into it. I gotta wait on world tension to unlock my capabilities.
Gotcha. Now what about Zaro, the Axis powers? I know that you have much different capabilities being fascist. You're allowed to go to war whenever you want. What is it that you're priming for in terms of your research? And as you can tell, we're playing very open-handed here because this is our first game, and, well, we know that I'm probably going to get crushed by Zaro, being a much more experienced player, but open-handed so that way we can learn and teach as we go.
No, I'm actually doing the same way, because Germany starts off in a good position, but they're not strong enough to take on all the allies or anything right off the bat.
Gotcha. Alright, so with civilian factories, you kind of have your choices as to what to build here. You either want to build state buildings, shared buildings, or province buildings. I'm pretty much going to do a large civilian factory build first, and then slowly start introducing military, because you want to get those civilian factories up to pump out more stuff. So currently I'm at 13 out of 36, currently active. Let's see here. Where do I want to build some more factories? Well, we'll build a bunch there. So what I'm kind of doing is just filling out the gaps in terms of things. So there we go. That should get us a good number of buildings for that. Next will bring us to free dockyards, but it also shows us that the dockyards and the military buildings are both on the same page. So you see the construction here. So what are you guys doing with your free civilian buildings while I figure out where I want to put all this junk?
I mean, it's pretty much like anything I can do is build more factories. I think most of us are just going to concentrate on industry, this initial stuff.
Yeah. That seems to be one of the better openers. You know, power up your industry.
Yeah, the more civilian factories you build early, the more military factories you can build later. No, we're all trying to do what Dark's doing now, and that we're all setting up our initial theaters and our generals and our armies, stuff like that. Renaming things. Although some of us have more time to do that since
Yep.
we must fight off the good old Grand Depression.
So I really have no military buildings with which to build, so I need to actually add more military buildings to this construction tab. So right now, 15 factories are going to be built. It's just that it's going to be a slow build up for me. So I need to get a few things going here before I can do too much. I didn't realize how low my military buildings were, but again, you kind of need civilian stuff to build up the military stuff. They go hand in hand. What about you, Zaro? I guess you're going to be doing the same kind of civilian than military?
Yeah, actually, I need to power up a lot of civilians because I'm short on a lot of resources.
You and
so
me.
I need to trade those.
You and me both. So we're going to kind of stack our queues here for what we want to do things in. Just like that. And you can, of course, change the priority of orders. Alright, so next thing up is the national focus. What do you want to do in terms of getting yourself going in the future? There's a lot of focuses over here for Navy or Air Force. That'll be like some of the later stuff I do. I can start working my way down defensive postures, aggressive postures, reforming my government to allow me to start getting rid of some of these unity issues, or I can start going towards infrastructure buildings. First and foremost, I probably am going to... Man, infrastructure is nice. Now, what does infrastructure add for you right off the bat?
The ability to build more factories.
Okay, so it opens up more slots. Okay.
It also lets your troops move faster from one side to the other through that area. And I think it also increases the supply that transits between the areas.
Yes. That's a big one.
So generally, unless it's like the Sahara Desert, which I was having in my testing with Italy, it's not really needed initially.
So first things first in my... Where was it? Crap, I forgot where that tab was that I just had open. Where's the tab that shows you what your... Oh, there you go. In your government reform, the France focus tree, that's what it is. I'm currently working on... I decided to go with the government reform, because that is the one that I need most, because it allows me to access everything else that starts getting rid of some of those national unity negative modifiers. And it also gives me options as to which way I want to head with certain things in the world. So, I don't know which way I want to head yet. That's still actually quite a while away. I can plan around going different places. I'm personally thinking either go with Britain or oh Jesus, I can't pronounce French. But yeah, so might go support the left, might go with Britain. We don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I might even woo Italy away from Germany. Who knows? All I know, yeah, I can have them. They're all mine. All I know is I need to start working down some different branches. What are you guys doing for your focuses? Because I know that you're the major power, so you have unique ones you can do.
France is a major power too, man.
I know, that's why I said you guys are major powers, so what are the ones you're doing?
Well, they are for about 3 years.
Roughly.
1939 rolls around, you better hope you're ready. Well, personally, like I said, I'm playing the United States, and we're suffering from the Great Depression as well as our isolation is another time. So I have to get through those. So the first thing is the WPA, which I think the Works Projects Administration is the acronym. I might be wrong on that, but it's essentially all the alphabet soup that FDR set up to bring us out of the Great Depression. And all it does is let me get some political power, which is another thing America lacks due to its starting characteristics.
What about you, Fish? I know you just started the Soviets. You didn't have much time to play around with it.
Oh, I was juggling either, increasing my industry or just purging all the dissidents right off the bat to get that the penalties ticking down as quickly as possible. I ended up purging all dissidents.
Gotcha. Yeah, Russia starts off with some pretty big negatives on both sides. You're neutered in industry, and you're also neutered in terms of your military capacity, so you need to go through the Great Purges to start making it actually work for you. What about you, Mr. Germany?
Well, I've been slapped with all the restrictions from the Treaty of Versailles, so I need to get over those first.
Ah, so you're going for the Rhineland.
Good possibility.
And then,
I'm looking at Rhineland.
And then he has a lot of options from the Rhineland. Like, literally, he has every option under the sun. So, he can decide what to go, where to go. There's a lot of different options he has.
And Germany actually gets bonus political power compared to everybody else.
Ooh, nifty.
Adolf Hitler grants 50%.
So, I have no units in basic, so I guess putting people in basic is kind of necessary right off the bat.
You want units to train up.
Gotcha.
That's the way to go about it.
So I guess right off the bat, probably either infantry or alpine. Infantry, motorized, mountaineers, cavalry, a light tank, and oh no, this is mech tank, and this is light tank. So they each have different little possibilities, capabilities that make them better, some worse than others. So we might go with just straight infantry. They're cheap, they're easy, and you need lots of them anyway. So we're going to probably train one of them. We'll add a bunch of units to it. We'll add 3, and then we need to set where they're going to go. So we'll say, oh, actually, you know what? Did I want to add anything else? No, can't add anything there. I don't have any experience to add anybody. Anyway, okay. So we want to set their location to be... what does setting their location do for them?
So when you either force them to spawn or when they're finished their training, they'll spawn wherever you tell them.
Got it. So I'll tell them to go to Lorraine. So we'll have one group training in Lorraine. We'll have another group training down in the Alps. And that should be everything we need there. Alright, so that gives me everything except for the resources, which I'm lacking, and I believe I'm only lacking in oil, right? Yes, oil. I need oil. Well, Mr. United States, I might have to borrow some, or trade some oil for some factories when I get enough factories to support it.
You might want to start the game moving here, since
well, I am all set. I am all set up with my pre-game stuff. If you guys are as well, we can probably start the game off fairly slow.
Oh, I think speed 2 is slow.
At least 2, probably.
Yeah, 2 is probably sufficient.
Because there's going to be a lot of time before we actually get to doing things. And Zaro, I realized I changed my push to talk because the control is used, but really,
What?
I can see what you're doing. I'm not going to say more because it might be a surprise, but I see what you're doing.
I can see it too. He's so if I can actually click on Zaro to see what he's doing. He's apparently pushing political party of his own out in America. So he's trying to support a fascist America is what he's doing.
I believe is that the White Party?
I believe so.
I think it's the Silver. It's the Silver Legion of America.
That is
Whereas
indeed
if the commies were doing the same thing, I'd have the Communist Party of the United States.
Unfortunately, I do not have enough points to roll away at that.
Yeah, Germany gets the extra one because they have to do all the manipulation politically, whereas once again, another thing with the U.S. is I get -1. So if I'm choosing a negative national focus, that takes 1, which means I have none. So it's always that balancing act early game, where political power is a lot more important early game, but once you get to the point where the war as a whole kicks off, it's not as useful. Because you also need it to change all of your laws and things like that as well.
Now, do the French have a NKDV-like unit, or no?
Nope, they don't need one at the beginning. They aren't purging their dissidents, unlike the Russians. The Soviet Union, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are you? You're a submarine group, you're a destroyer group. So what can you have them do? Oh, escort convoy, convoy raids, search and destroy, or patrol. Well, right now, I mean, I'm not doing anything, so I might as well leave my boats in port. Because why not? And I'm just maneuvering all my troops around in the meantime. Is all that they're doing.
Yeah,
so I need to start
protect against Mexico. That's all we can do.
Yeah, against the Mexicans.
Oh, the wall.
So in the meantime,
No,
I actually
no.
need to start getting my troops into different groupings. So what I do is I highlight all the ones that I want, come down here, create a new army, and then I can say, I can edit them any which way I want. I'm actually going to change their name to be German Front. And then that way I can tell what they are at a quick glance. And so now that they're grouped up like that, I can give them a general. Who do I want? Ooh, he's Old Guard. Jerk. A lot of... See, if you go into your generals, you can see all different types of little perks that they have. Some are better than others at different things. So I'll grab this Field Marshal as their general. He's a little bit slower for leadership experience gain, but he's great for defensive measures. So now that they're all set, I'm actually going to create a front line with Germany, and the easiest way to do it is I could just right-click and draw the line however I want it, or I could just click in general and it'll place it along the entire border. So I'll just click it in general, and now they'll spread out accordingly across the entire border, I believe. Or they should at least spread out evenly across the border. In the meantime, I'll get myself a nice little grouping over here. Not really make that into an army. Not necessary at the moment. But we'll start to bring other people up to different lines. And that's what we're kind of going to do, is just create little bits of lines here and there. Try and get some troops going in different areas.
Just a PSA. Always have excess weaponry or military equipment.
You mean infantry equipment?
Infantry, yeah.
Because you use it a lot when you're training or when you're...
When you're fighting, people
Fighting,
kind of
yeah.
just drop them or something.
Well, you use it. It's like ammunition and rifles. They get damaged in combat.
Yep.
Or no, they just lose them.
And that's all controlled in your production area. You can see how much you need, how much you're producing. Currently, I'm basically producing a whole hell of a lot of nothing. So I need to first build up my factories before I even can. And again, I chose to do civilian factories first because they'll help eventually create more stuff later down the road. So it's kind of a how do you choose to approach things sort of game. Alright, so we have more infantry divisions that we can send out.
And that's one thing, you can go the historical routes, but they also put options in there for not doing historical, which is what Zaro was doing when he's trying to turn the United States fascist.
Yes.
Or, like, you can turn any of these countries. Pretty much any country in the world except the United Kingdom can change their, and maybe also the Russians, can change their affiliations. Essentially, it's a sandbox, can make their own countries or factions.
Yeah, so you have both historical and ahistorical methods of things that you can do. I mean, obviously, you want to play your game however you want to play it, so... Oh, Jesus. I still have stuff way down here, too. Oh, Africa.
You have Indochina, too.
Oh, I have Indochina too?
Yep, you own Vietnam.
Oh, man.
And it looks like Syria.
Yep.
And a little bit down near Ethiopia.
And they have Madagascar.
Madagascar. Yeah, you're pretty spread out.
That is a lot to keep track of.
Oh, you actually, it looks like, have some land over in South America, too, on the coast up there in the Caribbean.
French Guiana.
Yeah. And Haiti, of course. Or wait, no.
Oh, I got
mind.
the special
Never
American
mind.
song playing right now.
Haiti is split off.
Does have the French Caribbean though.
Yeah, that's why I was confused at the beginning. I saw Puerto Rico and thought it was Haiti. Should know better since it's on the big island.
You should probably start planting your trees in Paris now. I like to march in the shade.
Well, in that theme, I named some my Pacific Island garrison speed bump.
It's
It's
kind
not
of
worth pulling back all my garrison divisions because they're not worth much.
yeah. You kind of as some of these big groups, you need to kind of pick and choose where you're willing to take the fight and where you're willing to accept defeat.
Well, it's that, and also, you know, you can't do everything.
Yeah, you really have to
Not
pick and choose
possible.
what you're going to do.
Just like I yanked the Asiatic fleet back, there's no point leaving it over there because it's just going to get run over if the war starts. Because it's just a bunch of destroyers.
Same with my navy versus the Japanese.
Yeah.
We're not touching that.
We never did get a chance to see if we could have the war over the Aleutian Islands, the jigger the thing. Mess with the attention. I have the comm guard waiting up there for you.
Do we really want to jank it that hard?
No. Although if we all go up to speed too, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're at the point now, once we get everything set up, we probably want the speed up. Because there is some waiting here at the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning is very, very slow. You're kind of stuck doing, how should we word it, like pre-war prep, rebuild of your nation, that sort of a thing. It's not fast right away.
No. I'd be okay whenever you guys are ready.
I'm just renaming stuff and creating new lines of defense, etc. So I have different colors of people all over the place. That's how I can tell when you're zoomed out who's where, is just by seeing their color. Corresponds with their different tags here, which also gives the number of how many troops there are in each. What is this? Battle plan with no units assigned. What do you mean? You have plenty of units assigned.
You might have to try like deleting it and reassigning it. I've had some issues with that. And it's just learning to do the battle plan system better. Like I actually... Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's just going to take a lot of figuring out. It's not exactly the, most written out game that we could ever find out about. No unit... Battle plans with no units assigned. You should assign some units to this... Okay. Sure. Well, fine, screw it.
You can just control left click on it to do it when you have some units selected. That might fix it, but it can be a pain. Like it's definitely some mechanics that we have to learn as well. It's one thing to watch a few videos and see how easily people do it, but there's a lot of key commands that can make it easier and shortcuts. But it's just learning the actual how you do things that you want to do. It'll take a bit.
I don't like having individual armies just hanging around, but I kind of see the purpose and need of them to just hang around.
Oh, that's right. Germany has their own music pack.
Yeah, so did the Allies.
I was very confused at where this music was coming from. It is super German.
Well, I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's just really is super
Hey,
German.
free dockyards. All right. There we go. We'll do that. How's my construction coming along? Well, slowly getting there. Pick it up. Little bits of time. Production, it is what it is. There's not much I can do about it. Just gotta let it build up. However, normally you'd want your units to start training, but that's not something you can do right away because, well, let's be honest, I can't afford to replenish the supplies.
There's a lot of build-up right immediately because there's all the stuff you have to set up, and then there's dead time for a bit as you're just researching. I mean, are we at the point where we should try speed 3, as everybody said, or no?
Yeah, I think I'm alright with that.
I believe we can.
And if any, something happens, you can always slow it down. It's not...
I don't think we're at a point in which it's not a big deal to move
Yeah,
on.
I mean, 38, 39, I'm sure we'll have to slow down a bit, but even like the Spanish Civil War, it's not going to be too bad. Although it might be interesting with all three of you sticking your oar into that.
Well,
Or
depends
two of
on-
you at least.
Yeah,
We don't know quite where France is going.
France doesn't know where France is going.
Usually Italy butts in. Problem.
Japan, but so does France. I've seen France in there too.
Can they intervene? Because they're democratic.
Well, I know when I was fighting as Italy earlier, France was a safe way for the Republican troops to like get in the pocket or out of a pocket. I made. So it might have been they just had military access, but I don't know.
Oops.
They didn't count as cut off though, which was kind of interesting.
So now I'm kind of just experimenting with ships. I'm just trying to see what they can do.
Think you can handle the Kriegsmarine?
I have no idea, man.
You
Actually, probably could. You might want to just group them up.
Kriegsmarine is not the strongest. Couple battleships, couple cruisers, decent destroyer screen.
Does anybody else get those pop-ups, by the way?
No.
Nope.
Okay, good. I was just curious.
Those are your decisions from your purging.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. I know that. It's, I'm,
Something.
something in very...
Oh hey, national focus complete. Government reforms completed. Oh hey, remilitarization of the Rhineland.
Slow it down while we go through these.
Well, I mean, you have a buffer, so there's no real need to...
I know, it's
slow
just
down.
so Dark's reading through them and everything.
Alright, so what do you want to do? This is an act of war, rally the British to our side? Or do I issue a diplomatic objection, which still gives the United Kingdom the event, but it just gains a protest action against the Reich? What to do? I think... Or just joining the government. Communist support starting a civil war. Well, you know what? I'm gonna ask the British for help. The British refuses war. No, we must back down because the British didn't help us. Womp womp. So
Oh
there you go.
no! They remilitarized the Rhineland.
Yes, they did. Alright, so where to go next? Well, we already started with some stuff, so let's go ahead and let's build up.
I actually
go with-
thought war was coming, so I had a whole line of troops ready.
You thought I was actually going to fight it?
I did, actually. I thought you would go for it, see what happened, since Germany is kind of weak.
I probably would have steamrolled you, that's the sad part.
Yeah.
The Siegfried line is decent.
That's true.
The problem is it's 2 port lines, so it wouldn't be
Yep.
a quick start anywhere.
But
I
that
do
would
have-
allow somebody to invade Poland
Oh, I
first.
love this. I love tension. Let it rise up. I approve, Fish. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I could have went to war against him. I do currently outnumber him in the sector, but I'm not sure that I would have had the supplies with which to keep the reinforcements going for long.
You
It
do
would
know
have
how
petered
to,
out quick.
You do know how to check the rough strength of a country, correct? Or no?
No, I do not, if you'd like to
Well,
enlighten
what-
me.
If you right-click on them to bring up the diplomacy window,
Yes.
you see right above like the declare war, there's a tab called details. Click on that.
Ah, okay.
And you see you have your intelligence information there, and that's depending on his encryption and your decryption is how accurate those numbers are.
Gotcha. So he is roughly between 26 and 39 military units, and that's about it. A bunch of
So it
other
tells
random
you.
stuff.
That's an interesting thing that I like. So you don't know exactly how many they have, like the Ledger and EU4, but you have a range, and that adds the whole electronic countermeasures and the code or cryptology and all that stuff going on.
In an all-out
Behind the
war,
scenes.
I might have, but I'm sure I would have got jumped if that had happened. So that is a good
and
thing that I
trying to
just
come
backed
through,
down.
coming through the Siegfried line with
It's just gonna bog down for
Oh,
a
it
long
would have been,
time.
it
It's
would
going
have
to
been
be
a
World
disaster
War
for
One.
everybody
World
involved.
War One again.
Until he
I
does.
think I have more Panzer divisions than you do.
Yeah, but that does nothing on the Siegfried line.
Yeah.
No.
It would not have been
through.
fun for either of us, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's pretty
Because
accurate.
it's
Who'da
also
had-
a little bit mountainous there.
Yeah, I have. That's why I have some mountainous troops or mountain troops. As they're-
Gerbis Jaeger. If his encryption's bad, he can't see.
I can
Yeah.
see all his. So
Yep.
Yeah, I can see pretty well into both of you.
you can.
Yeah.
You
You
see my
say-
troops?
I can see your troops
No,
along the
the
line.
estimated ground force.
Oh no, I can actually. I was just talking about seeing troops along the line.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You usually can see who's on the border.
Yeah, you can usually see the border and like one square in, I believe.
Yeah.
Without any sort of advanced sort of encryption.
Oh, I have a Caribbean fleet. I didn't know about that.
There we go. Do I patrol or do I search and destroy? Well, search and destroy. Well, there's two different things there. Ooh, nice. My research is done. Research time. Let's kill research time. Alright, so the difference between search and destroy and patrol. Patrol allows me to cover larger areas, spreads me out so I find stuff more often. Search and destroy keeps me narrow, but when I find stuff, I have a lot bigger chance of hitting and killing stuff. So we are going to probably just patrol the areas. We're going to right-click set regions, and that should patrol that area. And there we have it. We have ships on different orders now. They're all doing their thing. There we go. We have stuff out there doing its thing. Actually, you know what? You might want to change your orders. Ooh. Workers threaten strikes. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Well, I can either take a factory output of 30% and communism gain of 7, or output of 90% hit with national unity dipping. So we're just going to have to negotiate a deal. That's about all we can do.
Nobody sees shit.
How did you know I was looking at my Air Force tab?
External politic influence. Soviets are boosting a party popularity. Really now? Ah, the party of the communists is slowly increasing. Nothing I can do at the moment, but just let it ride. Alright, well, we're hitting about 35 minutes, so we're actually going to cut it there. We're going to try and keep these episodes a lot shorter than the other ones because they were hour-long episodes, get a little long and tedious. So we're going to try and keep these between 30 and 40 minutes. So we're going to take a cut here real quick and then we'll come back. So thank you everybody for coming out to this episode of our Let's Play of Hoi 4. And we'll catch you in the next episode where, I don't know, things might get a little more interesting. Alright, see you everybody.